Going live is just so much fun for me, and it's fun. Basically, I want this to be like the good old days of radio when you had to use your imagination to visualize things. I don't know. I have one microphone. It's got a spectrum. You might hear my dog eating some food right now because that's happening in real life while we're streaming. Right now, you're listening to background music. It's called Sulfur. It's something I made in July. It's not fantastic, but it's mine. How important is that? I know that probably I could be more relatable or familiar to people if they could see my face. And then they could decide if they like my face and then decide if they like the things that I make. And I could base what I think about myself off the judgment of other people, but can't really change my face unless I want to pay for that kind of augmentation or take the effort it is to contour with makeup. I like it better where you use your imagination in my world. So this is my channel, and I get to create a reality, a world you can choose to interact with. How cool is that? We're doing it every day for ourselves. We just don't get credit for it. That's why I think this sort of avenue of expression is so important to people. And when they thrive at it or find quote unquote success, it's because this is something that resonates with all of us. And it's about self-worth and being valid and existing. And sometimes it doesn't smell good, like sulfur. Sometimes I ask myself, when are you going to get so exhausted that you just stop talking? And then I think, if my ability to speak and comprehend and emote was taken from me suddenly, how horrible that would be, because I enjoy the ability so much. And if it was taken away from me, how would I have to adapt in the world? It wouldn't be easy. That's what I know. But it wouldn't be insurmountable. And that's awesome. Sometimes we all smell like sulfur. It's an organic thing. Yes, it's there. And when it's there in abundance, you're well aware of it. You can also clear up the smell of farts in a bathroom by lighting a match. And one tiny match can cancel out a fart. Isn't that weird? Hi, this is Cram Snicket. I just love that. I'm here for you and for me, because ultimately we're not separate, but our identities are unique. Wow. Sirens in the background. I don't know if you can pick that up, but I hear it through the microphone or through the earphones. A lot of stuff is happening, and the awakening process with people in my microsphere is, I don't know why I want to say on fleek, because that's not at all what it is, but it is amplifying. Let's like I said, I'm kind of into the radio thing. Foley artists, people making noises with objects to sound like other things. Love it. This is what I want to do for you. I want to offer a space where I'm just going to be me and it's my universe. And if you want to come hang out with me in my universe and add to my universe, sweet. If not, okay. Like, all right. What else is there to say? In life, there are people who definitely want to gravitate and be in our microsphere. They want a part of our world and they want us to be part of theirs. We don't always ground, but it's a choice, right? There is a certain free will aspect to everything. And that's cool. I like having that. Obviously, there is some sort of drive that affects free will, right? Like, I have the free will to go run into traffic, but I also have the lesson that you shouldn't do that. So, if I did go run out into traffic, not only would that be an act of free will on a certain level, but it would be going against the foundational aspect of not doing that. So, if you understand that, give me a high five. I now have 3 keyboards. I want to play them all at once, but I only have 2 hands. What kind of science is that? And I'm right hand dominant, so half the time I'm not even using half of what I have. Friggin' weird, but real. Things have been spiking, Schumann. People have been spiking, adaptation. Other things have been slowing down, common. And for me, I've been bleeding because I'm a woman all the way. Conversations are elevating right now. Right now, you might be listening to this. You might be listening to this as I'm saying this, or you might be listening to this some other time in some other place. Conversations are amplifying right now as you're listening to this in the real world and then rippling off into the effect of whatever. What is that? Don't know. Just love having a keyboard there to plunk on. So I'm creating a secret little universe in a subsection of a multiverse called YouTube. And once upon a time, I had a planet there that was obliterated by the greater construct, and I was homeless, but I was still visiting the other planets of people existing and creating in the multiverse. And now I decided, I'm going to have my own planet again. And it's going to be this. It's not going to be what it was before. It's not going to be what you have. It's going to be mine. So you might come here and be like, why aren't you showing your face like everybody else on you? Why do I have to? That's the construct, right? That somebody bought into and said, this is how it has to be. That you even have to have like a still shot of a picture up to represent yourself. No, I'm the void. Look into the screen. It's all just black voidness. I'm existing somewhere on the fringe, somewhere out there doing this. And mostly it's for me. But you know what? All of us want a vacation sometimes. So we'll like book a ticket to Mexico and go down there and, make sure that we book a ticket with an all-inclusive deal so that we can drink what we want and eat what we want and go on the tours without having to totally plan it for ourselves. And that's cool. Well, I want to be your vacation, but, the all-inclusive nature of what this is you ultimately using your imagination and either participating or not. Like, I don't even demand your participation. You don't have to like, you don't have to subscribe, you don't have to click the bell. You get full range freedom in deciding to visit and experience and think and whatever might come up for you or not. Like, this is a sovereign universe for you to engage with if you choose. And I like that because ultimately, I think, from what I'm picking up, what other people are putting down, we'd all like that option. So here it is. All right. But like radio, you don't necessarily know what's going to come up at the top of the hour or that kind of thing. As a creator, I have a archive of creative things that I want to share because who doesn't want to share what they make, man? You want to share it on some level. It doesn't necessarily mean that you want to be famous for it or viral or use it as a source of income. We are creator beings within a greater construct of creation. So it is in our DNA drive and function to have a desire to create. So I can't stop that about myself unless I just tell myself not to do it. But I prefer to go with the inclinations that come up that say, you should do this now. So I'm streaming right now because I heard within myself that I need to do this right now. I didn't have a plan. I didn't write a script. I have no idea where it's going to end up or how long it's going to take. I could get interrupted by the life that I live in physicality outside of me at any point in time, and I'll just have to cut it off. And you can feel like maybe you're at a cliffhanger. But this isn't just you visiting my universe and then getting caught up in some sort of power play or program. It's the fact that you just have to acknowledge that this gets to be my little universe that you're invited to. And I wouldn't want to go to your universe and like crap all over stuff or make it a mess. I would want to be respectful going there. So that's here's a place where something different is happening and it's not like the other things, but it might be similar and you're invited to participate with it. Oh, look at that's an alarm. Welcome to my place. In this place, what I want to share with you is not just being imaginatively abstract, calling for your participation with imagining what might actually be happening with no visual aspect. but also just that creating so many things seems selfish to sit on by myself. So I talked about breadcrumbs, and part of my breadcrumb is I'm going to put things that I've made previously on here, in here, that tie to other people and other experiences. And I will put them here because I think that they are profound for me in my universe. And they might be beneficial to you because you haven't stumbled on them yet. And they may potentially change the trajectory of how you build your universe. I'm not going to go out of my way to try and mess anything up, in the sense that I don't want to negatively impact people or their growth. So, the hardest person not to do that to is myself. So, awesome. What I'm looking at currently is 2 iPhones. The beauty of it is everything is synced up. I've used voice memos since the beginning as a recording device. Therefore, I am now well over probably 400 recordings about various things. And some of it is completely original to myself in the sense that I made it. And other things in here are byproducts of recording other mediums and interacting with those mediums. For me, they mean something. For you, you might just be like, wow, what a noisy, discombobulated source of entertainment you think you are. I don't care. I think that we need to face the fact that as creators, we do some really interesting stuff. And it doesn't always fly. It's not always great. But if we are continuing to record ourselves in writing and pictures and sound, we can see how we evolve and de-evolve and change and adapt, and sometimes even listen to ourselves and say, I can't believe that's me. That's cool. So what I do is when the inspiration strikes, I have to put it down. And there's a lot of long form discussion. I guess it's not really a discussion if I'm just talking to myself, right? It's just a monologue. But it's important in the sense that I know that I'm not experiencing this myself and I'm just saying it out loud when other people avoid talking about it when they have the opportunity. And then, they'll say dumb shit in the sense of being combative or argumentative instead of facing what's making them feel uncomfortable. And then they have to apologize for it later. And it sounds horrible, but I rarely apologize. And it's not because I don't feel some sort of wanting to get on the same level, but it's people expect apologies for things that don't always need an apology. They need an explanation. It's whether or not they're willing to take the explanation and bounce it off themselves that they can go there. And so there's plenty in my life I have and will continue to apologize for. But me being me creatively and finding significant influence where I find it, I don't need to apologize for any of that. So not having a real plan, but only having somewhat of a plan. I think where I want to go is another pre-recorded piece. I may add in some in the moment keyboard, because I got that going on. This piece is also from July of this year, and it is called Swedenborg is Quantum. If you don't know Emanuel Swedenborg, you should invite him to your universe, because he's freaking fantastic. And I found his work to be not only a source of peace, but insight to contemplate uncomfortable and awkward parts of acknowledging your own being. Here we go. Emanuel Swedenborg, Heaven and Hell. After death we are human. Verse 4, 5, 6. Years and years of daily experience have witnessed to me that after separation from the body, the human spirit is a person, and in a similar form. I've seen this thousands of times. I've heard such spirits, and I have talked with them even about the fact that people in the world do not believe that they are what they are, and that scholars think people who do believe are simpletons. Spirits are heartsick over the fact that this kind of ignorance is still common in the world, and especially in the church. They say, however, that this belief stems especially from academics who have thought about the soul on the basis of physical sensory reality. The only concept this can yield is one of pure thought, and since this lacks any medium in which, on the basis of which it is examined, it is like some volatile form of pure ether that can only dissipate when the body dies. Since the church believes in the immortality of the soul on the basis of the word, though they cannot help but attribute something vital to it, something thought-like, however, they do not attribute to it any sensory capacity like ours until it is reunited with its body. Their doctrine of the resurrection is based on this notion, as is their belief that there will be a reunion of soul and body when the last judgment comes. The result is that when people think about the soul on the basis of both doctrine and speculation, they do not at all grasp the fact that it is the spirit and that it is in human form. There is also the fact that hardly anyone nowadays knows what the spiritual is, let alone that the people who are spiritual, as all spirits and angels are, have a human form. This is why almost all the people who arrive from this world are as astonished as they can be to find that they are alive and that they are just as human as ever, that they are seeing and hearing and talking, that their bodies are still endowed with a sense of touch, and that nothing at all has changed. Once they get over their amazement, though, then they are amazed. The church does not know anything about this state of ours after death, and therefore it does not know anything about heaven or hell, even though all the people who have lived in this world are in the other life and are living people, since they do keep wondering why this has not been made plain to people on earth through visions. Inasmuch as it is essential to the faith of the church, they have been told from heaven that such visions could happen whenever it pleased the Lord. Nothing could be easier. However, people would not believe even if they were to see, because they have convinced themselves of the opposing false notions. Further, it is dangerous to use visions to convince people of anything if they are immersed in false opinions, because they will believe at first and then deny. In this way, they will desecrate the truth itself, since desecration is believing and then denying. People who desecrate truths are forced down into the lowest and direst hell of all. This is the danger meant by the Lord's words. He has blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts, so that they would not see with their eyes and understand with their hearts and turn I would heal them. John 12:40. And the fact that the people immersed in false opinions still would not believe it is meant when it says Abraham is to the rich man in hell. They have Moses and the prophets. Let them heed them. But he said, No, Father Abraham, but if someone from the dead were to come to them, they would change. But Abraham said, If they do not heed Moses and the prophets, then even if someone were raised from the dead, they would not believe. Luke 16:29 through 31. If you didn't think that that was profound, then I just don't know where your gauge is on awesome. So much is talked about there with our soul and our spirit and our looking and our desire and our permission to be creative because we are in the image of creativity. And like I know that me playing this keyboard is not fantastic. I am not a professional piano player. I have no tutelage in that direction. But if I sit and I listen and I'm with the moment, then I can weave myself within it. And as creators, our little micro universes, like my little channel, I get to figure out how to weave, but I also get to figure out how to create a foundation, and I get to state my rules and all this stuff, even though I'm in the greater matrix construct of what YouTube is. They have their rules. I get mine. And as long as I don't break rules, I can exist. That was a hard lesson to learn, but it's a universal lesson in the sense that there are universal rules that we're all dealing with, but don't necessarily acknowledge as true and right and in accordance with the construct that we live in. We are being, this is bad language, we are being given permission right now to acknowledge universal rules while making our own and creating spaces for ourselves, which are in alignment with a certain growth that is individual and unique while still participating with the greater construct. There is a lot of stuff that I would like to demonize and probably have demonized in the past. And what I'm seeing is how essential it is, because it's like a playground where you're allowed to grow and to understand other concepts that are bigger, spiritual, cosmic concepts that are a little too heavy to just be laid upon people in the construct that we've previously acknowledged. So instead of being an either overbearing parent or a very loosey-goosey parent that lets anything happen, we're not necessarily saying parent, we're saying these are the options and the ranges of options, and you can choose to engage or disengage. There will be consequences for everything, but you shouldn't sacrifice your creativity in learning the rules and the balance. In the last few years, I've gone through kind of like a dark night of the soul. And it's not my first, and it probably won't be my last, even though I want it to be my last. There is benefit in the dark night of the soul. In the dark night of my soul, I've disassociated from a majority of the things that I've enjoyed. Art, writing, painting, going out and being social with people. Really normal behaviors for my life and kind of a foundational construct that I've leaned on in hard times. The hard time came, and then no longer did I feel like I could lean upon what I thought was my structure. And I thought I lived forever, but I didn't. It kind of went into some sort of dormancy where it had to, or hibernation, where it needed different influences to come in to reinvigorate it. And that's awesome. And even though what I'm doing now is not the thing that I was doing before, what I was doing before is certainly a foundation for what I'm doing now, because I wouldn't be able to do these things the way that I'm doing them now if I didn't have the foundation of the other stuff. I think about sometimes how my life is so unconventional comparatively to my peers, and these are all choices I've made. And sometimes people ask me questions like, well, what are you going to do next? What's your plan? And I don't have one. Not consciously. I don't have a plan. So in the real world, if you don't have a plan, or like the analog reality that we live in, if you don't have a plan, people will, are you going to go back and do this or that? What they don't seem to understand is I don't want to go back to the things that I did before the way that I did them. But I'm more than happy to take the experience that I've had doing other things and then blending that into whatever the next thing is, because I learned something in all those places. To go back to them exactly as they were or try and relive them would be regressive, and I don't want to do that. So recording all these things, buying a new old keyboard even though I already had one, that to me isn't regressive. That's building off of what I've already found works. I can't play for shit with my left hand. But maybe I will someday. What else would I like to share with you? 32 minutes, 57 seconds. I could probably spend hours every day doing this, in the sense that it makes me feel comfortable. And I enjoy feeling not full of anxiety. And let's see. Excuse the phlegm in my throat. It's natural though. Or not. I don't know. People cough. Wow. So many recordings, and most of them just say new recording number, fill in the blank. So I don't necessarily even know what's on there. Should we do a random? Should I just like, bam, scroll and then point? That seems dangerous. If you're good at planning things out, you would know that you shouldn't do that. I know that recording these things is just ultimately on the selfish part for myself, but that since I'm messing with frequencies and playing with frequencies and putting these old recordings, my current voice out there, whatever happens in the moment, messing with the greater construct, just like everybody is, but most people just don't want to break it. And I'm not that person. I kind of want to break it. I want to break it because I know it's already broken, but I just want to help destroy it. so that we can face the fact that it's really broken and we need to either rebuild it or buy a new one. But that's buy a new one. That's not even a real answer. It is, but it's not, and I don't accept it as really the direction I want to go. So I'd rather just break it and rebuild it. I don't know why that is better than buying a new one, but it seems reasonable to me. What do people find interesting? I don't know. I kind of feel like the chaos of randomness might be the way to go. Whew. All right. Let's go with dying. I have no idea what this is gonna say. It's 5 minutes and 8 seconds. I recorded it on November 23rd, 2016. So death is a huge topic for me. And even in the tied-inness of the present moment of this recording, being able to die to yourself and be reborn is something beautiful and amazing. And we all live many lives in one incarnation these days. So if you can accept that you've already died many times, and that even though you're still you, you're not the same you that you were, awesome. So let's see what past me had to say about dying, November 23rd, 2016. Cool. That wasn't even a talking track. That was just me playing pump organ and then following in here like after 3 minutes with a keyboard. This is live. This is happening for you and for me right now. That's awesome. Unplanned. Moving on. What's next? I don't know. Actually, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to let you sit with that because there's stuff that I need to do. My schedule is off today, and my grandma's taking a nap, which is not normal. Need to go check on that. It's my dog talking to another dog, kind of aggressively. Yeah, sit on that. Listen to it. I don't care. This is great. This is wonderful. Who wouldn't like this freedom of expression and expansion? That's all I gotta say. I don't know. One viewer who, I love you. Have a lovely afternoon. And I'll probably be back later because this is too fun. Oh, shoot. Goodbye. She get up?
Yeah, she wants broth.
Good. I made her